Little Victory Sports Cards here, and first off, I want to thank everyone. I reached 1,000 subscribers earlier in the week, and honestly, I really appreciate it, and I'm so glad you're liking my content. One of my goals in doing all of this was to get to 1,000 subscribers. I didn't know what to expect when I first started this, so I just want to thank you for helping me obtain that little victory in my life. It means a lot. And as you can tell probably by watching my videos, personally making these videos has been almost cathartic or therapeutic for me. I'm a strong believer in airing out your mistakes and problems and how that really helps healing within yourself. So I'm truly hoping my stuff is helping all of you in some way, or at least entertaining or informative to watch. So today I have for you the final installment of my top 25 percentage drop videos, and it's baseball. And then I will probably stop talking about the boom so much and we'll move on. But I want to end with some comments of positivity. I don't want anyone to feel discouraged. We all made some bad investments during this wild boom ride. I'm right there with you. Trust me on that one. But I want to tell you that I'm actually so happy where the hobby is right now. It's where it should be. It's proper place of value. And we are now able to get off the roller coaster and just breathe, relax, and able to take time and think clearly before making purchases. And honestly, it's exciting to buy right now. I've been able to get some really cool stuff for my personal collection for fair, great prices. So all right, enough talking. Let's go ahead and get started with the top 25 cringeworthy baseball drops from the COVID boom to the current prices. All right. Number 25, 1989 Upper Deck Star Rookie Ken Griffey Jr. baseball card. Man, this is an iconic card, probably the most iconic of its generation. It is so nice to look at, and it's great to have in your personal collection. I mean, look at that throwback look. It's got some cool chains on, and that throwback hat, the Mariners hat. It's such a cool card. And it's one of the most recognizable and still one of the most submitted cards, baseball cards, with PSA right now. I'm going to give you, but unfortunately, like a lot of cards, it dropped a lot. I'm going to give you the data on the PSA 10. I just didn't have one right now. This is the PSA 9 copy that I thought looked great. It's all centered up. One day I'll probably crack it in, especially with a little scuff on the case there. But anyway, PSA 10 at the peak sold for around $5,400. And now they are around $1,650. That is about a drop of 70%. I mean, this card was part of the first boom, which was around 88 to, about 87 to around 94. And they mass-produced cards like crazy, including this one. And there was a lot of controversy surrounding this card. It was known that Upper Deck, even after all of its printing release and everything, that years after, they kept producing this card, and there were so many copies they gave them to employees. But yeah, so mass-produced, still great looking card. That's number 25, Ken Griffey Jr. All right, number 24, I don't have a card, that exact copy on me right now, but it is the 1982 Topps Traded Cal Ripken Jr. rookie card. The Iron Man himself in PSA 9 form. He was one of my favorite players, still is, growing up. Incredible career, incredible. But his PS 9 at its high was around $1,050, and now they're down to around $300. That's pretty good. You can pick up a copy for only $300. That's a drop of 72% on the Ripken. All right, let's move on to another first boom card. It is the 1986 Topps Barry Bonds. I know this is the 87. This card almost, definitely dropped too. But I'm going to be talking about the 86 Topps traded right there. And we're going to do the PSA 9 data on that. It was up to around $115 for 9, and now it's down to around $30. That's about a 73% drop, and I imagine these 87s dropped substantially too. All the steroid drama. Is he gonna be make it into the Hall of Fame? There's a lot of stuff surrounding Barry Bonds, but can't deny he had an incredible career even before the steroids. But let's move on to number 22, which is a little bit of a newer player here. We got Nolan Arenado. I actually like his trajectory. But we're going to give you the data on the 2013 Topps updates. And we'll give you the data on the 10. So this card pretty much. It's at its peak sold for around $270, and now they're down to around $70. So that's about a 74% drop of a pretty good player. He's a career 290 hitter. He has 7 All-Stars, like over 1,500 hits, and he's fairly young. He's only probably around 30, 31. And when I don't do a ton of baseball prospecting, but when I do, a good tip is to always look at the age. You want them to be young enough to reach great stats. And I do like his trajectory. He's already 7 All-Stars at age 30, 31. That's, pretty good numbers already. But let's move on. Let's go to number 21. All right, number 21 is the big hurt. Frank Thomas. Man, he could hit the ball. 1990 Leaf. This is a pretty iconic card. I'm going to give you the data on a PSA 10 version, not the 9. A PSA 10 at the peak sold for around $680, and now they are down to around $180. That's about a 74% drop on this Frank Thomas. Good looking card. I remember collecting this Leaf set as a kid. It was kind of the premium set of the time. This in the 91 Stadium Club. But big drop on that one. Next one up. I do not have the card on me right now, but this is the player, Mike Trout. But I'm going to give you the data on the 2011 iconic Mike Trout Topps Update PSA 10 data. At its peak, sold for around, almost $6,400. And now they are down to around $1,600. That's about a 75% drop on one of the most important baseball cards for its generation. Mike Trout, one of the biggest names, along him with Ohtani, one of the biggest names in baseball. Those Topps Update cards were just going crazy. I liken it to in basketball, the Panini Prisms were just the silvers. They were going crazy. So the Topps Update in baseball were going nuts. Prices were extremely high, and Trout included. But I also wanted to highlight this card because they had a huge drop too. This is the first year Prism from 2012 baseball, and it's in a PSA 10 form. Its high was almost $1,100, and now they're down to around $130. That's an 88% drop. So this card should be up on the list. But there's so many cards in baseball. We could have a million on this list that have dropped so much. All right, that was number 20. Let's move on to 19. We have I don't have it on me right now, but it's a 2016 Bowman Chrome Vlad Jr. in PSA 10 form. Its high was all the way up to $540, and now they're down to around $130. It's about a 76% drop on that one. He's pretty young still. I think he's only like 23, and he already has over 100 home runs, career batting of around 285. So, he's young. There's still hope for Vlad Jr. for sure. it was just because cards dropped so much, you know. But let's go on to 18, which is part of the boom cards, the 1991 Chipper Jones. Chipper Jones Upper Deck. I don't have it in graded form, but I'm going to give you the numbers in a PSA 10. It was all the way up to almost $215, and now they're down to around $45 and $50. So about a 77% drop. Honestly, I could have picked a number of cards and players in this slot and in this era. So many of these players in that first boom, like Chipper, Mussina, Piazza, Biggio, Omar, Alomar, Randy Johnson, Smoltz, Glavine, Pedro, all those guys, Hall of Famers, but massive, massive drops. And I think it was because, you know, when the boom first started, you had a lot of people my age, you know, dads out there who were at home and they, you know, they've been working. They have money now, finally. And they wanted to buy the cards that they collected and loved as a kid. And that was during that first boom. And they wanted that card. Since they had some money, they had wanted that card in nice condition, in PSA 10 form. So that spurred a lot of this price increase initially. And, you know, it just went from there. But that was number 18, Chipper Jones. And we're going to move on to number 17, which is the 2001 Albert Pujols. We got the tops. And I'm going to give you the data in PSA 9 form because that was a crazy drop. Its high was almost up to $800. And currently it's around $165. That's about an 80% drop on the Pujols. And I mean, he just hit 700 home runs. And, you know, how is his lower-end rookie still kind of dropping, which is beyond me. It's just how the market's flowing. But, I mean, Pujols, amazing player, future Hall of Famer. Can't go wrong with Pujols. All right, let's move on to 16, and that is also a first boom card. This is actually the first card I noticed, you know, after the pandemic first started. I started looking up values. I saw things steadily increasing. This Mark McGwire card, I couldn't believe it. It kept rising. It was up to around, I don't know, 300, 350, 400. I think that was right around the max, and I couldn't believe it because, you know, it's such a common card, and it's Mark McGwire. People must have loved collecting this back in the day. So I remember rushing to get a lot of these graded, and luckily I was able to sell some 10s for probably around $250. But yeah, it's high around $350. Right now it's probably around $65-$70. It's about an 80% drop on the McGwires. All right, let's move on to number 15. We got Big Papi, David Ortiz. I do not have a copy on me right now. It's the 1997 Fleer rookie card. He didn't have many rookie cards. I'm going to give you the data in PSA 10 form. It was the high around $10.50, so over $1,000 on that one. And right now they are down to around $200. That's about an 81% drop. His values spiked exponentially too because he was a, you know, Hall of Fame inductee kind of around that COVID time, you know, 2002 or 2022. So his cards increased, but now they have back down there. All right, 14. Number 14 is the 1987. I mean, I could give you this Topps data. This card has dropped a ton for the Greg Maddux, but I'm going to give you the Fleer, 87 Fleer Glossy Maddux PSA 10 form shown here. Its high was around $550, and right now it's selling for around $100. So big drop on the Maddux. That's about an 81% drop. Topps traded, Tiffany's have dropped substantially too. Mass produced. I mean, look how many nice copies I have. Need to get graded eventually, but it's tough. It's tough. All right, let's move on to number 13, which is, it's not this exact card, but it is the player, Juan Soto. So a little newer guy, finally. We got, I'm going to give you the data on the 2018 Topps update in PSA 10 form. Looks like its high was around $350, and now it's down to around $60. It's around an 83% drop. I've noticed a lot of these younger players, man, their cards spiked. It looked like all of them around February to April of 2021, so right mid-pandemic, you know, spring training, everyone's speculating. Man, those prices were high. Juan Soto, I'm a little concerned with his batting average drop. You know, he was batting .313 in 21, and now in 2022 he hit about 246. But you know, he's young, and I like how he already has 5 years in the big leagues under his belt. So definitely hope for Soto. All right, let's move on to, what am I on? Number 12, Yordan Alvarez. And you're probably thinking, why him? Well, his cards dropped a bunch, even though he had an incredible 2022. I mean, he won the World Series. He was an all-star. He hit over 300. So, you know, he did a lot in 2022. His card should be going up, but just the way the market is. I'm going to give you the data on the 2020 Topps Chrome Alvarez PSA 10. Its high was around 165, and now it's down to around $25-30. You know, it's an 83% drop on the Alvarez. But, you know, he's a little old at 25. And he really only has 3 seasons under his belt, but that strong 2022 year gives you hope for sure on the Alvarez. All right, number 11 is Ichiro. So I'm going to give you the data on the 2001 Topps Chrome traded. I just didn't have it right now. In the PSA 9 form, its high was around $1,200, and now they're around $180, so that's about an 85% drop on one of the best players to play the game. You know, 3,000 career hits, just a worldwide sensation, fan favorite. Ichiro, you know, you can't go wrong. I'm a fan for sure. But big drop on that one. All right, let's move on to number 10. We got, oh yeah, Ronald Acuna. Well, I'm going to give you the data on the 2017 Bowman Chrome PSA 10 version. They were up to around $550, and now they're down to around $85. That's about an 85% drop on that Acuna. Wow, yeah. Like I said earlier in the video, it was that around April of 2021, that spike, that price spike, a lot of these guys, wow. Huge boom on that Acuna's, but now they are down. You know, he's a 3-time All-Star. He's only 25 years old. He almost has a career 280 batting average, and he can get you 30 seasons. He's fairly young, 5 seasons under his belt, so, you know, he still has a lot going for him, I think. But he is on this list. So let's move on to number 9. Woo, one of the most iconic cards ever. This is the 1993 SB Derek Jeter. I'm sorry I didn't have it in a PSA 9 or 10 form, but I'm going to give you the data because it's fun. I'm going to give you the data in a PSA 9 first because that was a pretty massive drop. At the peak, $35,000. Yes, I said that right, $35,000. And now they're around $5,000. That's an 86% drop on Jeter. And he even got inducted to the Hall of Fame during the COVID boom. So it's crazy to think it's dropped that much. But I'm also going to give you the PSA 10 data because that's just fun, right? It looks like a PSA 10 at the peak sold for around $600,000, $600,000, and now they're around $200,000. That's a crazy drop. We we need that macro stuff to start going up again. That's crazy. But that stuff's beyond me and my comprehension. That much money. All right, let's move on to number 8. Familiar name, new name in the hobby. We got Tatis. Oh man, this one hurts. Luckily, I didn't have any skin in the game. I didn't collect him. I don't do a lot of baseball, but you know, I know enough. And the word scary comes to mind. He had such an amazing 2021, but you know, being suspended for using steroids, that is hobby scary. You know, if Clemens and Bonds and ARod and McGuire can't even get into the hall with the career they had, you know, what's that say about Tatis? It's scary. But I'm going to give you the data on the Topps 2019 PSA 10 shown right here. Its high was around $360, and now they're around $45. About an 87% drop, kind of as expected on that. So that is the Tatis number 8. All right, let's move on to number 7. Shown here, we got the 2017 Topps Chrome in PSA 10 form, Cody Bellinger. So its high was around $150, and now they're around $19. It's just under $20, and that's about an 87.5 drop. It's a big drop on the Bellinger. He was steady for a while, but now his batting average has steadily declined over the years. Man, he even batted only 165 in 2021 and only 210 last year. So, you know, part of this is definitely performance based on the Bellingers. All right, let's move on to number 6. I surprisingly don't have a copy right now. I was selling a lot of PSA 9s, even a few 10s for a while there. But it is right there, the 1991. Michael Jordan made the list. It's the upper deck in his Chicago White Sox uni when he, you know, this is a short print. Short print in 1991 still means, I don't know, 500,000 copies. It is still mass produced, trust me. But a PSA 9 at the boom was around over $400. And now they're selling for around $45-50. So that's about 88% drop on really an iconic Jordan card. Big drop on that one. All right, what do we got? We got number 5. Number 5 is, I don't have any of his cards actually. Right there, we got Wander Franco, his 2019 Bowman. His Bowman at the peak was around $177, and now they're around $22. That's about an 88% drop on the Wanders. You know, it's a small sample size for Wander. You know, he's not really a home run hitter, but he is really young. He's only, 21, 22, and so you can't count him out on the Wanders. But let's move on to number 4. 4 is very interesting to me. It's Dominguez. I'm going to give you the data on the 2020 Bowman of his in a PSA 10 form. Got all the way up at the peak to about $210, and now they're around $24. Wow. His prices really spiked in, it looks like, July of 2020. So after the pandemic hit, that's an 89% drop. Pretty crazy prospecting for him. He hasn't even played a game in the majors, and the prices were astronomical. I think I even remember his Chrome Superfractor Auto, which is a 101, sold for almost $500,000. Can you imagine having that money, or just to gamble that much on someone that's completely unproven in the majors, hadn't even played a game? That is the ultimate gamble right there, and it makes me cringe thinking about. But that was number 4. Let's move on to number 3, which is Ooh, yes, Robert. Yes, he dropped substantially. So I'm going to give you the data on these 2018 Bowman PSA 10. Its high was around $180. And it's low. Wow, it's right around $15, $16 right now. That was a 91% drop. Ooh. It looks like it's kind of high. Its peak was around August of 2020. You know, I'm worried about his age already. He's already 25 and small sample size, not many games played, not many seasons. But he did hit 284 last year, so not all is lost. Hopefully he has a good year next year. What was that, number 3? All right, number 2. We're on to number 2. All right, good. We got some Mookie Betts right here. I'm going to give you the data on kind of this card, his Bowman from 2014. It looks like its high was $150. And this is PSA 9 data. $150, and now they're around $12. That is a huge drop. That's about 91.5% drop. Pretty crazy, especially for, you know, a player who is pretty good. I like his trajectory. You know, career 293 average. And he has almost 1,500 hits. He's a 6-time All-Star. And he's fairly young. I think he's only like 30. And he can hit home runs, which is good. And he has nearly 9 seasons under his belt on a good team. So, like Arenado, I like Betts for sure. Not as much risk is kind of what I mean. All right, number 1 drop is it's not this card, but it's the player, ARod, Alex Rodriguez, his SP card. And I'm going to give you the data in PSA 9 form. It got all the way up to around $1,800, and now they are selling for around $150. That is a huge drop. That's about a 91.5% drop on the ARods, and it's such an iconic card. You know, he's been involved in all the steroid controversy, but it's still an important card in the hobby. It's foil condition sensitive, which I think makes it kind of extra fun to collect because you want to see it in that high grade, and you know the pop reports aren't going to be astronomical. So, you know, I like the value in the PSA 9s and 10s. I'm going to give you that data on the 10. Might as well. Let's end with a bang. So, the 1994 SP in a PSA 10 sold for around $30,000 at the boom. And now they are around $9,600. So, pretty big drop on that one. Not as much as the 9 form. But, yeah, number 1, that's ARod. That's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. That was the last of my percentage drop videos. I hope you enjoyed it, or at least found it entertaining. But subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and thank you if you have. I should have some more good content to come. Thank you.